So on YouTube, there's this channel called Veritasium. It's very popular. It's got several million viewers rather, subscribers and such. And it recently released, the channel released a video about dark matter. And it called it The Absurd Search for Dark Matter. Absurd in the sense that, the search for it required to do experiments underground in all kinds of funky places and all the rest of it, right? And it got several million views, so I'm not going to link it down in the description below. You can find it for yourself, yeah, because my video needs millions of views, not Veritasium's that's already got them. But anyway, the serious point, is that, see, in the Veritasium video, they talk about dark matter. Now, dark matter, for those of you who don't know, is that, you see, in physics, in astrophysics, there have been a series of observations, astronomical observations, and the Hubble telescope was actually instrumental in these observations, that go counter to the theory of gravity. They don't quite line up with what theory of gravity predicts should happen. And so what has happened is that because of this, this problem actually started in the 1930s, and I knew this before I watched the video, by the way, which goes into a little background of the problem. But, back in the 1930s, some astronomers were noticing the same thing, that things didn't quite line up or square away. It didn't go the way theory said it should go. And so they postulated back in the 30s something called dark matter. And it sort of like faded out and then faded back into popularity because they couldn't explain it. There was no theoretical grounds on which to explain the fact that the galaxies were not moving the way they were supposed to move according to the theory. And so rather than change the theory, they postulated dark matter. This dark matter that makes up like 70, 80% of the galaxy. It's all over the place, but you can't see it. It's like this weird pixie dust that it's not there, it's invisible, and you can't detect it by any means whatsoever, but it makes up the majority of the universe. This is an example of epistemic viciousness. As I explained in the previous video, go and check it out. See, the physicists, and people who know this about physics hasn't really advanced very much in close to a century. Ever since really, the advent of the nuclear weapons, theoretical physics, has not really advanced. And it's spiraled into this closed loop. There are no advances in theoretical physics, and you have this kind of nonsense where they start postulating things and insisting that they exist, where there's no evidence for it whatsoever, and it accounts for a majority of the matter in the universe. This dark matter is supposed to be it, dark matter, and then there's dark energy, of course. Let's not even go into that ball of wax, right? And of course, it's because they don't want to change the theory. Because so many people's jobs depend on the theory. So many careers have been built on the theory of gravity. And so to say, oh, it doesn't work, basically means that all these people with PhDs, right, they learn shit that was make-believe, that was made up. It's not real. And that's the problem. The longer this problem goes on, insofar as physics being unable to explain reality, and it starts to devolve into these stupid theories of dark matter or dark energy, which is, the equivalent of 19th century when they came up with the ether, that out there beyond the atmosphere of the earth, there was ether. We laugh about it now because it was funny, okay? But at the time, they took it very seriously as today they take dark matter and dark energy. And it is serious because these people's jobs depend on this. And this is an example of a very important science, a hard science, a math science, that has fallen for epistemic viciousness. And the problem is that the only people carrying out high-level physics are inside this magic circle of academia. And so they're cut away from anybody who would say different, who would tell them, hey, no, this is just stupid. I can say this, but I'm not in that world. I'm not in academia. I just look at it and say, this is just dumb. But they're all there, emperor new clothes like, insisting on dark energy, dark matter, and they create all of these experiments, which, by the way, companies or foundations pay good money for. And so all of a sudden, everybody has an incentive to make sure that this shit exists. Because if a foundation approves a grant for several $1 million for some experiment that will find allegedly this dark matter, then the guy who approved that check, he better come up with something. He can't say, oh no, it was all just bullshit. He can't say that. So what do they say? They say, oh, the experiment failed. They don't say, we were pursuing an ephemera, something that doesn't exist. No, they can't say that. Their reputations, their jobs depend on them saying, no, it's not that dark matter doesn't exist, it's that our experiment was not successful in finding it, so we have to do another experiment. And all these PhDs whose work depends on a set of theories that might be completely inaccurate, they can't go back on that. They can't say, oh, you know something, maybe I spent the last 25, 30 odd years, all of my work is based on a lie, based on an erroneous theory. They can't say that. They can't. And since physics at this time has no practical application, because rather than pursue something of practical utility, physics just decided to go up its own ass, literally, okay? They didn't pursue, say, fusion, nuclear fusion. That would be actually of practical utility. If you could figure out how to do nuclear fusion and put all of your effort into finding the theoretical way to do it properly, efficiently, then you'd have something. But there's a little bit of it that's going in that direction, but a lot more of it is going into all this theoretical bullshit. And of course, what happens is that a lot of people inside the world of academic physics, those people who are inside the circle of epistemic viciousness, see, they look down on the practical applications of physics. They want it to be highfalutin, more serious. You see? And so this is an example of epistemic viciousness in, hard science. We're talking physics. We're talking, stuff that's, all about numbers and equations and shit, all good and solid, right? It's about the fucking universe. They're talking about the universe, but they're making shit up because their theories don't work. This is epistemic viciousness in physics. Understand what's going on.
A pretty baby, let me hold you in my arms. Your sweet body will drive me crazy. I cannot escape your charm. Be my beautiful sex